people how you are doing against the goals that you've chosen and you want them to help you with. And also, there was opportunities for celebration when you win. That's important. I can just take one very simple example, again from the market, when we hit, I think it was £500 million worth of sales a few years back. So we gave everybody a present. And it was a wallet from men, it was a purse for the ladies, very nice, leather. And we didn't tell them this, but we put a £10 note inside it. So when you're, oh, very nice, oh, thank you very much. Never ask for it. We want you to feel part of a successful business. Now that's an important feeling. To step inside your business and feel, this is where I feel successful with this company. So when you're setting these simple goals, which everybody can help you with, celebrate success and enjoy it on the way up the ladders. Celebrate every step on the ladder as you progress. People love the feeling. Now what I'd like you to do, if you don't mind, here's something just a run item. Here's an example of a company called Ramli. They're an American company. They make plastic basins, they make rubber products. A simple company. And you know they won the most admired company in the US in 1995. And they're committed to innovation. An admired company. They have produced 365 new products that year. And everybody understands, things are going to change, the products are going to be different. Finance department, well, we're going to have to have new figures for different products. Some products will disappear. Manufacturing, no. We're going to be making new products. Salespeople know. We're going to be selling new products. Marketing know. We're going to be bringing out new products. But nobody doesn't know we are an innovative company. And when you get that message, you come in, I would like you to turn to your neighbour and say, what you think your current top priorities are in your business, and then I want you to ask yourself to what extent they look like this. Okay? So I'm going to give you 10 minutes to do that starting. But write down your answers first, please. Don't start discussing until you've actually considered the answers to these questions. We said, who are your customers then? Let's talk about the people who get the results of your work. And senior managers, and they said, we don't have any customers in the R&D department. We don't get any customers, no. No customers. Nobody gets the result of your work. Well, if we've got a customer, there's only one customer. Who's that? The cashier. Well, the cashier. Who's the cashier? The guy who signs the notes, you know, he's got his signature on there. That's the only customer he's got yet. And what I know at the time that I know now is that the cashier gave them an order. There was only one customer for this business. It's a beautiful business to be in. There's only one customer. Marvelous. And he gives you an order every year without fail. And never comes. And by the way, in this particular case, he never asked the cost. Whatever it costs, that's it. Just print them. You know, 50 billion notes of this, 20 billion of that, 30 billion of that. And what's interesting, at the printing works, there were about 1,000 people in there. They always worked overtime in the last 2 months of the year. Even though there was only one order, and they knew what it was at the beginning of the year. Marvelous. They said, but we're very class already, they said. Oh, you are? Oh. Why do you think that? Well, look at the standard. It's a world-class product. But doesn't reveal that all the machinations that went on in the company. I presume you have trade unions here, they have trade unions in the Bank of England, and we tested to what extent they were efficient within the bank. And it's interesting, although the printers started at 7 o'clock in the morning, the machines didn't run till 8 o'clock. So why don't they run till 8 o'clock? Oh, they've always done that. They said, why don't they run? Well, it's just what they do. So, for the industrial relations manager, used to be a printer. So I said, well, how long does it take to wind these machines up? Oh, he said, 10 minutes, 15 minutes maybe. I said, why did they wait for an hour? I said, well, they've always done that. I said, I know, but why did they do it? And they stopped an hour beforehand to clean up, supposedly. And when they got it out, 26% of the time the machines were idle, even though the printers were there. When we examined the first machine, its efficiency, we found that it was working 33% of the day. In other words, there were twice as many machines as they actually needed, but they still thought they were world class. So we spoke to the R&D department. We said, well, don't you think that the banks are a customer? After all, they handle the notes, they put them through the telling machines. Oh, well, so we sort out banks as a customer. Cashier was the first one. Do you think manufacturing is a customer? Manufacturing? No, manufacturing, they've got to be able to print it. Oh, well, I suppose they're a customer. Now, that particular year, they decided to put aluminium foil on a £50 note for the first time. And it's stamped with a beautiful rose. The pattern was beautiful. But they didn't tell manufacturing, and manufacturing had never used foil before. So when they finished the design, they threw it over the world to manufacturing, but we couldn't print it. So although they had an order for 30 million, they couldn't manage to print any, and so we got none that year because nobody told them we were going to be foil on the note. So it's a non-manufacturing as a customer. And then we had retail, like big supermarkets, yes, that's a customer. And eventually we had a full flip chart full of customers. And over a period of time, they decided that we've got a lot of customers really, and we reorganized the whole division to face into different customer segments. And it just changed the pattern of how they did the work. And all of a sudden, this department halved in two and still achieved the same amount of work. Now, what happens when you start looking at customers and deciding who your customers are, it's important that people realize that the customer is the person either inside the business or outside the business. But most customers, for most people, are inside the walls of their own business. Now, some of you will have horrendous because they're a big business. And they have been so much benched out, they're focused on customers only. That's their key focus. If we looked at the 12 levels here, then say we only focus on customers. That's the thing we're world class at. And I emphasize to you, please choose the one that you want to be world class at. But if I go to RLB, this is what I see on the world. A customer is the most important person in this office, or in person by mail or telephone. He's not dependent on us. We are dependent on him. He's not an interruption to our work. He's the purpose of our work. We're not doing a favour by serving him. He's doing us a favour by allowing us to serve him. And a customer's not someone to argue a match with. Nobody ever run an argument with a customer. A customer is a person who brings us his wants, and it's our job to handle them properly for him and for ourselves. And I've never gone to any department in RRB that was not that person in the world. But it's not a British aerospace. They mean what they say. They really mean what they say. And when you get to that stage, you don't have to talk to anybody about that. You'll have probably heard of a company called Marks and Spencer in the UK. And Marks and Spencer a long time ago decided that, in fact it was one of the owners decided, I don't see why we should stop any products which we would buy ourselves. Why do we do that? Well, if there's anything wrong, I think people should be able to bring them back, and we should take it back. And there's two things about Marks and Spencer that everyone recognizes. It's quality products only, and you can bring it back any time and get your money back. And not only do the directors know that, every person who works for Marks and Spencer knows that. You don't have to tell them. But better than that, all their customers know that. They know that's what Marks and Spencer represents. Now, what do you represent to your customers? If I were to ask them about you, what adjectives would they use about you? What adjectives would you want them to use about you? Because if you can write the adjectives down, then you can start organizing your company to do just that. to serve your customers well. And I'm making that clear, but stand in the shoes of the customer and ask them, what would we like to see in you as a company, and you will be able to see what you can do to start on the first run to the next level of world class.